All right, a quick joke before we get started, and I told this to my ex-wife, so I know it works. What do you give a girl that's got everything? Penicillin. Get it? She's got everything. Okay. Anyway, I tested it on my ex-wife. She's an ex-nurse, and bada bing, there you go. Happy Friday. Those of you who know me, I like to start off with jokes if you know what I'm saying. All right, let me get a quick sip of coffee here and we'll get started. All right, so come next month, important news. If you are running an unsupported Windows 10 computer that cannot officially upgrade to Windows 11, you are going to be in deep doo-doo. Now, there are several options to keep your computer from becoming obsolete, and we'll talk about the topic for today, this company called Back Market. I believe they are based in Paris, France. I actually wish I was there for the next 4 years, if you know what I mean. Anyway, yeah, there are several options if your computer is like my several computers who cannot officially upgrade to Windows 11. Even though I've done it unofficially, it can be done. I've done it, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I've done it 4 times. Now, it's not recommended because it's not official from Microsoft, so that's not the #1 way to keep your computer from going, obsolete, but it can be done. You can install Windows 11 on unsupported Windows 10 PCs. Maybe. Okay, so we'll talk about this here in a second. So again, this is from a company called Back Market. Now, they do recommend one here that has the potential to be a complete disaster. And I've talked about this before, so let's just go into this. Let me check my connections here. Looks like we're all good. When I'm done talking, I'll check the chat. If there's anybody here, I'll say hello. If not, I'll catch you on the next one. All right, Back Market. Get ready to unplanned obsolescence. All right, Windows 10 is coming to an end. Here's how to keep your PC running. So let's see, October 14th, Windows 10 will no longer receive updates. You should not be running any computer, whether it's Windows, Linux, or Mac, Chromebook. If a computer cannot receive security updates, not feature updates, if you cannot receive security updates, you really should not be using your computer. You can absolutely if you don't use the internet. But how many of us use computers and not get on the internet? Right? Okay. So a major issue lies in the fact that not all Windows 10 PCs can upgrade to Windows 11. Strict hardware requirements, TPM 2.0, secure boot, and more. That is true. Estimates suggest 300 to 400 million devices. It's hard to believe, but according to this, 400 million devices could be affected worldwide. This is a textbook case of planned obsolescence. Well, I mean, eventually I guess everything becomes obsolete. I don't know if this was exactly planned. I mean, Windows 10 has been around a while, I'll just say that. But sure, if your computer is perfectly fine, you should not be forced to upgrade if you don't have to. So, yeah. All right, so you can check your PC's compatibility with Windows 11 by downloading the Microsoft official PC check. There is a tool to check it out. And I guess for millions of computers, don't bother because your computer will not be eligible. Let me get another quick sip of coffee here. All right, your PC isn't done yet. Here are some tips to extend the life. Okay. They have option 1 Linux, such as Ubuntu, because Ubuntu is free and powerful. That is true. It is free and powerful. But this shouldn't even be on the list for several reasons. Those of you who are Windows users who stop using Linux or don't use Linux that much do not want to be forced to use the terminal. You install Ubuntu, you will be living your life in the terminal in the beginning at the very least. Now, I don't mind. I'm live streaming now with Ubuntu. And I don't mind because I've been doing this almost 20 years. So as a Windows user, I have patience. Lots of patience. But look, times have changed. I can't expect 400 million users to have the patience I do. It would not be fair. The second reason not to use Ubuntu is the dropping of support for the X11 display server. I can't use Wayland. It's being replaced with Wayland, if you don't know that already. And when I switch to Wayland on my Ubuntu, my system freezes. Now, maybe there are workarounds, terminal commands to fix it. At some point, I have to say, as a patient Linux Windows user, enough is enough. Wayland is almost 20 years old. I think it's ridiculous that we are being forced to use that kind of old technology. But that's a different story altogether. So it says here, use Ubuntu. Now, if you have a spare computer or don't care to try Ubuntu, and if it breaks, it doesn't work, you don't care, that's okay. Then absolutely try Ubuntu. If it works for you, it's a slick looking system, but it's just not designed for Linux newbies. And Ubuntu has kind of lost its way over the years, to be quite honest. But if you don't mind tinkering and have the time, and maybe already purchased a Windows 11 computer and have the Windows 10 as a spare PC, sure, try Ubuntu. It may work out for you. For me and for many others, I think it's a disaster. There's a video here, how to install Ubuntu. I have not looked at this, by the way. Okay, just to let you know. Option number 2, the far, far better option, because there's less drama. It's faster, it's light and simple. In fact, it says here, Chrome OS Flex, fast, light and simple, FLS. And if what you do mainly is online tasks, like it says here, Gmail, streaming, Google Docs, video calls, I have tested Chrome OS Flex. It is the Chromebooks with Chrome OS, the fastest Linux I have ever tested. Chrome OS Flex is fast also. The main thing with Chromebooks and Chrome OS Flex, you never have to use the terminal. You can if you want to. If you want to, but it is not necessary to use the terminal commands to run the operating system. If you like Chrome OS Flex but want more, you can get a Chromebook. A new Chromebook will give you at least 10 years of support, and they start at $200. So far, it is the fastest, most affordable Linux-powered machines that a Windows user can buy, the Chromebook, that is. And one thing about a Chromebook, they're easy to use, and if you buy something on Amazon, a Chromebook on Amazon that's not for you, you can always return it. But I think you will be impressed with just how fast these Linux-powered machines can be. Now, there is another tutorial here. Again, I have not looked at this. I'm sure it's fine. How to install Chrome OS Flex and transform your old PC. Yes, I have installed Chrome OS Flex in the past on my one of my outdated computers, and it was a joy to use. The one thing about Chrome OS Flex for and really Chromebooks too, for content creators like myself, they're not full-featured for content creators. For content consumers like you watching this, Chrome OS is perfect. But for content creators, I wish the software was there. The Chromebooks are certainly capable, but the software has not kept up with the hardware yet. Such as I like to use Kdenlive, software, OBS Studio. Can't do it, at least not yet, in Chrome OS. But if you do not do what I do, such as this, talking, podcasting, videos, if you don't do that, then Chrome OS Flex is certainly the better option than Ubuntu, and you won't have to worry about display drivers as you will with Ubuntu. Coming up in the next Ubuntu release, they will be dropping support for the X11 display server, Wayland only. And like I said, right now, I cannot use Wayland. I've tried, ran updates, rebooted. The last thing I'm going to do is try to solve a problem that I should not have to be forced to solve in the first place. Ubuntu looks pretty slick on the big screen, which is what I am doing now for this live show. But if I switch to Wayland, I can't use it, so what's the point? So that's my whole thing here with Ubuntu for Linux newbies. If you are not a newbie or just don't care or have a spare machine to try around, sure, try Ubuntu. You may get lucky, it may work for you. But for me, Uh, yeah, on multiple machines with Wayland, it simply does not work. There is something called Expire that I think should be the future for the display driver for Linux, but that is brand new. That's going to be a while. That I believe is more compatible, if I am not mistaken. All right, so again, this is from a company called Back Market. Go to backmarket.com. I know nothing about them, full disclosure. This is just to help somebody out. Someone out of the 400 million Windows users who are going to say, dang, my computer isn't that old and I can't upgrade to Windows 11. Officially, that may be entirely possible. All right. Let me go into the chat here real quick after a quick sip of coffee. By the way, if you like these shows, these live shows, let me know. I do these live shows at random for people in different time zones. And, if you would like to sponsor a live show, I don't do corporate sponsorships. No companies pay me to say this. If you would like to sponsor a live show anonymously and help support the channel, let me know, and we'll go from there. Let me take a quick sip, and I'll take a look in the chat. I have to tell you that I love my Keurig machine, coffee machine. It is fantastic. Okay, let me go to the chat here, and let's see who we have. All right, this is Cat's Eye. Am I saying that? Is it Jess? Hi. Not the Ubuntu. Okay. They had me at bringing Steam to Chromebook, then they took that away. Yes, that is true. Yes, they did. You can game on a Chromebook. Then they weren't really designed for that, but you can. I don't really do that much gaming anymore, Jess. But yeah, I thought bringing Steam to Chromebook was pretty cool. Now look, Google may bring that back. I don't know. Again, Chromebooks are not for everyone, just like Linux isn't for everyone. But in terms of the least amount of drama, the least amount of Linux headaches, Linux drama for Linux newbies. Now, I don't know if you are new to all this, Jess, but yeah, I think Ubuntu should not even be on the top 10 list right now for Linux newbies because of the Wayland potential disaster. And like I said, I have tried to use Wayland. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So there you go. It's yeah, I'm kind of disappointed in Ubuntu. And like I said, for the Wayland display driver, maybe Ex Libre might be it to replace it. I don't know. But I think the website, this Back Market website, has some good information. It's just right now, Ubuntu should not even on the top 10 list for Windows users unless they change their mind about, Wayland. Okay, another sip of coffee here. And oh, Mr. Anon from Brooklyn. Yeah, I was born in Brooklyn. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? This cheers. Again, enjoying your YouTube channel. So then enjoy your day. Well, thank you so much. It's good to be here with these random chats. I was doing these a lot more pre-pandemic. We had quite a few shows. We would have anonymous donations to keep the shows running. Then the pandemic hit and things changed. But I would love to do these some more on a regular schedule if it's possible. The EOL policy is likewise bad. Just, do you mean the Chromebook EOL policy is likewise bad? Is that what you're saying? Because the Chromebooks give you 10 years of support. starting at about $200. I don't think that's bad. Now Google can certainly change that. Now the older Chromebooks, yeah, I think they maxed out support at 5 years, maybe even less. But the Chromebooks and Chromebooks Plus, and if a Windows user buys a Chromebook, I would suggest a Chromebook Plus. That they're not that much more money, but you will get 10 years of support from Google, and that's pretty good. About half the people will use Rufus and use Windows 11 unsupported hardware. Yes, that's what I did. I did that multiple times. Yeah. Yeah, Jess, they all get 10 years support now, minimum. Google changed its policy back during the pandemic in, I'm going to say around 20, because Chromebooks outsold Macs during the pandemic, and they are the only Linux-powered machines to do that. That year was the year of the Linux desktop. It was that year during the pandemic. No, you keep hearing this is the year of the Linux desktop, but that came and went. I've yet to see another Linux-powered machine outsell Macs. That's pretty freaking good. But yes, after that, Google decided, let's make these more accessible for Windows users, not just for education purposes. So they give 10 years of support. The machines start at about $200 for not a Chromebook Plus. The Chromebooks Plus machines start at $300 on sale. Yeah. So yes, they get 10 years of support. Some Chromebook Plus machines are over $500. That is true. You don't have to do that. Again, they start at about $300 for a Chromebook Plus with 10 years of support minimum. I think that's the best Linux deal out there. Yeah, I've heard of the other, what is it, LTSC or something like that, Windows 11. I haven't messed with that personally. That's an option, sure. It's I don't know. I guess at some point you just have to move on and get a newer machine when you have to. My machines right now, except for my Chromebook, are at least 10 years old. My PCs are at least, well, I have a ThinkPad that's not that old, but yeah, these machines are at least 10 years old that I have. The one I'm streaming with now is a Lenovo that had a Windows 7. Remember Windows 7? That still runs. I dual boot Ubuntu with Linux Mint. I was going to buy a new computer in 2020, but then the pandemic hit. I was going to buy a new computer around 2022, but then my furnace, my AC started to go bad. And after 30 plus years, it was time, so I replaced both my furnace and my AC. Well, those aren't cheap. Those run a lot more than computers. I thought about buying a new computer last year. My ex-wife, who I mentioned before, got struck with something called fibromyalgia. I'm not a doctor, so I've been helping her out. So no computer. Anyways, it's just one thing after another. So I decided to hold on to these older computers. I believe in family first, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. That's why I haven't bought a new computer. If anybody has a fairly newer computer they don't need and want to donate to me, let me know. I would be eternally grateful. All right, so no TPM, no secure boot. Yes, that is true. I have a ThinkPads and Linux work great, by the way. They are the perfect marriage. It's probably the only thing on planet Earth that I can say it's a perfect marriage. Yeah, I have a ThinkPad that's about 6 years old, I think. And that I installed Windows 11. I don't use laptops that much more anymore. I'm either on my PCs or on my phone. It's just more convenient that way. I just don't use laptops that more, or my Fire tablet. I keep forgetting I even have that. Yeah. You got rid of Windows 11 on your ThinkPad and installed Fedora? Really? I don't think Fedora is for newbies. Unless that's changed. I don't know, maybe it's gotten better, but I believe Fedora is going to drop support for Wayland also, if I am not mistaken. Yes? No? It's not that hard? Okay, all right. I'll take your word for it. For newbies, I like Linux Mint, Zorn OS, of course the Chromebooks. Oh, they dropped X11 session by 43. I see. Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't know. I'm disappointed with this Wayland thing. Anyway, I'm not going to rant anymore. I'm not the only one, so I think Linux users are being bamboozled into accepting Wayland when we know it doesn't work all the time, so. Right now you're testing Linux Mint? Good. Fedora is bugging you with the daily updates, that many updates? Okay. Did you install like the testing version of Fedora? Yeah, speaking of Linux Mint, the new beta for Linux Mint or the new beta for the Linux Mint Debian edition, the beta version is out. I actually have Linux Mint Debian edition installed on my other computer. I like Debian. Really, systems like Linux Mint, the team behind that, they are smart. They release when ready and not on a set schedule. And they are not dropping support for X11 because, according to them, Wayland is still experimental, which means it's probably not going to work. Yeah, so I trust Linux Mint, number one, right now for Windows users. So you have the regular workstation for Fedora? Okay. I think the Linux Mint Debian edition has the Cinnamon desktop, and I believe you can log in and out to try Wayland or not. I prefer Linux Mint Mate edition because it's fast and it's simple, and no Wayland. I'm curious to see what's going to happen here in just a few weeks when Windows 10 does expire officially. And then I think the next Ubuntu is coming out here in about a month, 25.10, with no X11 support. I wonder how many Linux users are going to just say, like me, I've had enough of this and move on. We'll see. Waiting for Cosmic Beta to drop. Okay. I looked at it. It was okay. Eternal Alpha. It's been a year for Cosmic. Yeah, I believe they're doing that from scratch. Uh, so it takes time. I get it. I looked at it. It's okay. It's not for me. I think I will stick to my Windows 11, my Linux Mint, and my Chromebook for now. With Ubuntu, once the 25.04 updates officially end, I will not be able to use Ubuntu anymore unless Ubuntu changes its mind about X11, or I can upgrade to the last Ubuntu LTS, which has X11 support. Because I think that one will be good until 2029, so I may have to do that if I want to still play with Ubuntu. But yeah, it's kind of frustrating. Yeah, Ubuntu is going to this pseudo Rust RS thingy, and then I don't understand. I don't think that will affect performance, though, right? I think. Oh, and snap packages. Yeah, I don't. I mean, I generally try to avoid snaps and flat packs and all that unless I have to, unless absolutely necessary. But you don't have to use snaps if you don't want to. Yeah, the snap thing I don't really have a problem with. The Rust thing, switching to Rust, I don't quite understand that. Like I said, I am more concerned with the dropping of support for X11, which makes my system unusable. Hey, if snaps work, great. If the pseudo Rust works, the best system is the one that works for you, right? Whatever that system can be, and it's just, for me, it just does not include Wayland. Very disappointing, but there are other choices. All right, so I'm going to wrap this up here in about 5 minutes so I can have my breakfast. If there's anybody else watching here who would like to say hello or have a question, don't be shy. That's why I'm here. Yeah, the AI thing, boy, that's another topic for a discussion. I could talk all day about that, just how potentially destructive that can be, changing the world. You know, there's a lot of talk about privacy on the web and videos and how to be private and all that, and I think that privacy was on the decline years ago, and AI has completely destroyed privacy on the web, in my opinion. Again, but that's a different topic. So yeah, not fun. So I think my next Linux test might be the next Zorn, which should be coming out soon. Just got an update from them. I may be checking that one out. I like Zorn. Always have, since I first messed with them over 10 years ago. All right. I think we will wrap this up for this Friday morning stream. I want to thank the folks here who joined in. Always a pleasure. All right, guys, that's it. You guys know how to reach me. I will catch you on the next one. Be safe out there and have a good weekend. And I'll catch you on the next one. Arrivederci.